Ding, ding. I don't have a gavel. Ding, ding. We are going to call this meeting to order at 10:02 a.m. Let's start with the flag salute with Rebecca, Committee Member Farnbach.
Will you join with me, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Anderson. Farbach?
Present.
No?
Present.
None? Here. Uriarte?
Present.
And Wilson.
Present.
All committee members are present.
Thank you so much. So now we're on to public comments. A total of 30 minutes is provided for members of the public to address the committee on matters not listed on the agenda. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Public comments may be made in person at the meeting by submitting a speaker card to the committee secretary. Speaker cards will be called in the order received. All audio and visual use is prohibited. Public comments may also be submitted by email for inclusion into the record. Email comments must be received prior to the time the item is called for public comments and submitted to the Old Town Local Advisory Committee at temeculaca.gov. All public participation is governed by council policy regarding public participation at meetings adopted by resolution number 2021-54. Do we have any public comments?
We have none.
Okay, thank you so much. Next item, the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and all will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no discussion of these items unless members of the committee request specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. A total of 30 minutes is provided for members of the public to address the committee on items that appear on the consent calendar. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Public comments may be made in person at the meeting by submitting a speaker card to the committee secretary. Speaker cards will be called in the order received. All audio and visual use is prohibited. All public comments may be also submitted by email for inclusion into the record. Email comments must be received prior to the time the item is called for public comments and submitted to Old Town Local Advisory Committee at temeculaca.gov. All public participation is governed by council policy regarding public participation at meetings adopted by resolution number 2021-54. So let's start with the minutes.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve. Sorry, motion to approve?
And a
Second. Oh, I'll second, Brooke. Yeah.
Yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any noes? Any abstains? Thank you.
Item passes 6-0.
Perfect. Thank you. We're moving right along. All right. Under the business category, members of the public may address the committee on business items that appear on the agenda. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. Public comments may be made in person at the meeting by submitting a speaker card to the committee secretary. Speaker cards will be called in the order received. All audio and visual use is prohibited. Public comments may also be submitted by email for inclusion into the record. Email comments must be received prior to the time the item is called for public comments and submitted to the Old Town Local Advisory Committee at temeculaca.gov. All public participation is governed by the council policy regarding public participation at meetings adopted by resolution number 2021-54. I will have this memorized by the end of the year. Excellent. So do we have any comments for that?
We have received none.
Okay. Then let's move on to Frog Parking Pilot Program Update by Eric Jones.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So just a quick update on the pilot program and the data that we're seeing. We're kind of seeing a continuation of the trends that we've been reporting on for the past couple months now. Saturdays, a little chart here, Saturdays continue to be the most busiest, with April 5th being our busiest day that we've had so far. Also, we're still seeing the trend that most people are parking for an hour or less. The next category you can see here drops off dramatically for 2 hours, and then 3 hours, and then it really drops off after that in the pilot program. And then peak utilization, you've heard us talk a lot about how that 85 percentile, that's kind of the cutoff for when you need to add parking and whatnot. We've been seeing that we are hitting it during some peak hours, but overall, on average, we're not hitting the 85%. So that's the data that we have right now. We are working with Frog to refine this data even more. We're working with their data scientists, so we'll be able to provide some more context as time goes on, as we learn the system and as they learn what our needs are and vice versa. Thank you.
Any comments? Go ahead, Ms. Carlene.
I just want to clarify, this is just along Front Street, so it doesn't involve the streets where the residential parking is?
Correct, if we could
Or
put my,
the streets
right.
close?
yes, I just put the map up that shows the
Right.
pilot program location. It's just on Old Town Front Street.
Exactly. So the impact on residents, particularly those that live close to the farmer's market, are probably going to show different data.
They probably will. This
Yeah.
is just the pilot program to make
Right.
sure this is a system that we want to go ahead and, or hopefully council will want to go ahead and place the expenditure to move on to phase 2.
And Phase 2, remind me what that will consist of?
Phase 2 is going to be every single publicly available parking spot, including the garage, so.
Thank you.
More data to come.
More data to come.
So I think my only surprise is that even on Front Street, it's less than an hour is the norm. Again, perception was that people were parking much longer, but funny that
That-
it's not happening.
That took us by surprise as well. We thought for sure it'd be blown out at least for a few hours of the day, and there's a few peak hours, but for the most part, it's not.
Yeah, and are we seeing this on the weekdays and the weekends, that again, it's
This
still
is
less than an hour?
Correct. This is monitoring 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's what I love about data. It's so hard to dispute because, like I said, perception was that everybody's parking on Front Street, all the team members are parking. It's like hours and hours and hours, but it's really not. So, okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I wonder if anybody would go out on foot and make notations regarding parking to just double-check Frog. Because, you know, we talked about that one vehicle, the red vehicle that sits out in front of the Chaparral building. It's out there already. And, you know, it'd be interesting to know if it's still out there when I leave, and that would be more than 1 hour, right?
That would be more than 1 hour, but like I said, there are some spots that exceed the 1 hour. I have it, right here, I have it pulled up.
We could
Okay.
actually isolate to the
Yeah.
exact spot using the
Okay.
data, and then we could field verify. So we're able to do that.
Okay,
But
thank
that's,
you.
but you're right. This is an average. So yes, those 3 cars, 5 cars are always there. It will still be there when you leave. I promise you, I'd bet $100 on it. But you're right. It's an average of what's there. So appreciate that. Thank you.
The other thing we're going to do is with regard to the 85% utilization threshold, that's a 24-hour period. We want to isolate for the busier hours when the businesses are open
I would
and
agree.
take away the 2 a.m. to 6, 7 a.m. to really get a better picture of the utilization based on when the businesses are open. So
Yeah.
That's what we're working on.
that'll be the
with.
next meeting.
And that would probably give us, again, a much better picture when you take out those empty hours when we're not down here. Perfect. Thank you.
The record will reflect that the committee has received and filed the
Yes.
Frog update.
Thank you. All right, our third thing, receive update regarding Old Town outdoor live entertainment and provide general recommendations regarding the same. Mark Collins.
Good morning, Chair, members of the Commission. As mentioned, my name is Mark Collins. I'll be presenting this item, which is just an update on the outdoor live entertainment program we implemented this past August. Sorry, this microphone seems very loud. Okay, just a little bit of history. I don't think I need to inform this group any, but Old Town by Design has evolved into a lively dining and entertainment district. A picture there on the left being from roughly the 80s, and then 2020 on the right, just kind of giving you an idea of what we're looking at. Okay, Old Town in the pandemic, obviously COVID brought some new challenges and opportunities. The city took them head on. We implemented the outdoor temporary dining program for restaurants and merchants. We did a quality of life survey, and then we had a creation of the Metro Plus team to handle some incidents that were going on in Old Town. Okay, a little bit of why we're here. Us staying open and being proactive during COVID really made a name for Old Town, and it became quite popular. Some of the consequences of this popularity was some increase in alcohol-related incidents, and that kind of spurred some action from the city council. In response to joint city council and planning commission workshops were held to discuss alcohol and entertainment specifically in Old Town. What kind of shook out of that was a standardized conditions for alcohol serving establishments and a midnight cutoff for alcohol sales. Additionally, it implemented the new Type 90 ABC license or an entertainment venue. And then why we're here today is the temporary outdoor live entertainment program specific to Old Town. Staff went ahead and prepped all these documents for adoption. And again, why we're here today is the temporary outdoor live entertainment program. But that was adopted this past August. Okay. I'm not sure why this font is different. Please forgive me. Summary, it's a pilot program, 1 year, which allows for temporary outdoor live entertainment in Old Town. It's permitted through a temporary use permit. It contains a sunset clause, 1 year, so this program automatically expires August 8th of this year without any further action from council. It is limited to the downtown core district, and city council may discontinue or extend or make permanent at their discretion. Kind of what staff and everyone was thinking for this, we were thinking, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week, guy with a guitar, things like that. We're not looking for, a AC/DC cover band or anything. Okay, and again, this font is just driving me bananas, forgive me again. As far as the issued permits, we had a lot of discussion prior to and right after implementation of this program, but since its implementation, we have only had 2 outdoor live entertainment TUPs issued, one of them for Swing In, which was issued not too long after the program kicked off, and then to the Palomar Hotel, which was just recently issued. Swing In has had 3 total noise violations that have been verified. There have been additional complaints, but obviously if someone calls, staff isn't here. By the time we get out here, staff may not be able to verify, so we obviously can't create a case based on hearsay. Okay. And then staff is requesting feedback on the program. Specifically, have you or those you represent had a positive experience, a negative experience, and wish to provide any other feedback or input? Should the program be continued? Staff will collect all this and we'll be taking it to City Council for their further direction. That completes my report, and I'm available for questions.
All right, I'm going to leave it to my committee first. Anybody have any questions, comments regarding this?
The complaints for Swing In, do we know who those came from?
I do not have access to code enforcement cases. I believe there's some secrecy there. I believe Brandon can speak more to that.
I think you mean whether it was other businesses or residents.
Yes.
That's, so in general terms, not.
Yeah, in general, it would be from other businesses, but we do maintain the confidentiality of the reporting party.
Yes. Yes, I just want to know businesses or residences, yeah.
Entertainment in general, we've had anything from, and I'm just speaking indoor, outdoor entertainment, we have complaints from other businesses and residents as well. So it comes from a wide variety of folks. So that's just how it is in Old Town. Everybody likes to have their input. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
I would like to get a little survey questionnaire to the tenants in my building. Is there a deadline to getting feedback back to you? Is it today? Or?
No, we have not. We're going to get before the City Council Old Town Steering Subcommittee and present this to them, but we have not set a date. Okay. So if you have some information to get my way or Matt's way to us, we'd be happy to get that up.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Do that in the next 2-3 weeks?
Oh, I was thinking this week. So.
Perfect.
Okay.
And let's be clear, it's more of how has it impacted them since? And for me, I guess with even representing Old Town Temecula Association, we haven't heard anything because there's 2. So it's Palomar Inn and Swing In. I think my only question would be, because there was so much noise to have this, and you guys did it, what has been the reason that they haven't followed through on their end to complete the application? Is it the process of the application? Is it the boundaries that we've put around them? Was it not what they were looking for? I'm not, and I guess that's where my survey, that's where I would go back to them and say, you guys wanted this, and what the heck, why are you guys not following through with your stuff? So that's where I would.
We have the same questions. And the application process is not that onerous. It's a, I think, 1-page TUP. It's fairly simple, and then the parameters we put on it were just the hours.
Yeah, 10 to 9, so that's it. And of course, the reason for the music, but acoustics is what they all have anyways, so it's not like it's any different. I literally pictured our biggest problem was gonna be like, you're gonna walk here and you're gonna hear a Bruce Springsteen song, and over here, you're gonna hear, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I thought was gonna happen.
That's what we thought too, but it's been
But it
fairly,
didn't happen.
fairly quiet.
Well,
yeah.
two, I mean, Swing Inn and Palomar,
Palomar.
which they don't even do it anymore because they are changing the way they do business.
Mhm.
So, okay, well, I think that's what I'll go back to I guess my members and ask them, why didn't you guys follow through with the applications that we all thought we wanted so badly? So,
If you could report that back, and then when we go to the Old Town Steering Committee, we'll provide that feedback.
I have a question. So with that licensing or agreement that the 90, don't they have a decibel level that they have to comply to? And these complaints, were they related to loudness higher than that decibel level, or the hours, or what's the nature of the complaints?
This is Brandon Rabideau. He's our code manager.
just stay here.
Happy to do so. So a couple different questions. I want to split up kind of your question. So you talked about the Type 90. That Type 90 is a specific license type for indoor entertainment at the Blues Club. So that's one specific business. This is a separate program. That separate program is for any business in Old Town that wants to do temporary outdoor entertainment. This could be a coffee shop, it could be a restaurant, any variety of that. To answer your question about, what is the majority of complaints about, it is usually about noise levels, not necessarily they're doing it, because now we have the ability to actually do this. It's generally around noise levels, saying the business is operating too loud. The way we go about investigating that is we have a very methodical process. It's not just like, I feel like it's noisy over here. Our officers actually have calibrated equipment. They go out, they measure the decibels. Those decibels are in accordance with the municipal code and the general plan. They measure it over a duration of time to make sure that it's not just like, hey, this is one note that went a little high. This is continuous sound that is over the decibel limit for 30 minutes. So it's really, I think it's a fair way of approaching it, and a citation is not issued just for one note that's over there for 2 seconds. So it's methodical, long durations over the city's noise limit. Does that answer your question? Okay. Anything
Any
else I
other
can answer?
questions before he walks away?
I have one. So it was complaints, no citations, correct?
No, we would have issued some type of citation. I've got Officer Gonzalez, correct? We issued citations on that, correct? 3 citations total.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we usually would start with a notice of violation as kind of a warning, please stop doing this. Then it would come out with citations if the non-compliance continued.
And honestly, the citations were fairly far apart, October to April, so I wonder what changed okay, well, thank you.
Could be a variety of things. We could have had a complaint, and in some instances, some businesses, we have a complaint, and it may be Friday night at 8 o'clock, and we may have officers, that actually needed to get some rest, and they come out at 9 for their night shift. So there's things that occur, but we try to shift when we see reoccurring complaints to address the issues.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments or questions? All right, so we owe you guys just some more data. We apologize for not having had it already, and file it, I think is what you said. Thank you. All right. Next is advisory committee reports. This is to let the staff know what's going on with our individual positions in here. So do we want to start with the residents?
So not much to report for us. I will say, though, I feel like parking, probably the last 3 months, is noticeably a little better. I haven't had to park in the 6th Street lot and move my car at midnight. I haven't had to do any of that. So I do feel like we're already starting to see some effects of a little bit of better parking.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
My only report is that the annual State of the City address is coming up on June 5th. Mayor Brendan Kalfas will be giving his address, and we'd like to welcome everyone to attend. If you want to learn more, you can go to our website, temecula.org. Thank you.
Ms. Rebecca?
You know, I've got some really great news to share. For a couple of years, city staff, Caltrans, and the Historical Society has been hoping to put a marker on the freeway, Interstate 15, to indicate the exit for the Wolf Store and Vale headquarters. And just this past Saturday, it happened. So, thank you. Thank you. The other thing that I just want to report is the Auto House, OTTO House on Pujol Street. A developer had wanted to remove the building because it was in such really, really bad deteriorated shape, and to construct a new building. And the Historical Society did sign off that we recognize that the building was too far gone to rehabilitate it there. But Richard Beck, who owns Hotel Temecula, on behalf of the Temecula Valley Historical Society, is in the process of moving the most historic components of that building on his own dime. And so he's trying to salvage anything he can that is reusable and put it in the backyard of the Hotel Temecula. And we're hoping that city permitting will be, fairly easy for him, because this is for our community. And so just wanted to report that and thank you all for participating after we condemned it and somebody's saving it. It's kind of cool, really.
That wasn't a hint at all, but yes, he's a true lover of Old Town, because of even the Temecula Hotel is beautiful. So excellent. Shall we go in this direction, Ms. Carleen? And then we'll
I'm
go to
good,
Scott.
nothing to report.
Excellent, thank you.
So a couple of weeks ago, we sent our VTV chairman, Chris Bailey, he went to Scottsdale, Arizona. Julie was supposed to join him and had a flight issue and wasn't able to go, but Chris met with the team there in Scottsdale and reviewed their Old Town. So now we're putting together notes. We're going to put together a subcommittee of, they run just an exceptional Old Town in Scottsdale. So if you've ever been there, it's a great example of everything to do right. They've got a good entertainment area. They've got great restaurants. They've got great shops. So we really want to look at, other places that do it right and try to emulate that. So we're putting together a subcommittee with VTV, putting together ideas. We'll work with Julie and her team, and then start talking about ways that we can continue to improve Old Town.
Thank you. We look forward to partnering up with you on that. And I just want to be clear, I did miss that meeting. I was at the San Diego airport for 8 hours for a 50-minute flight to Scottsdale. I could have flown there. I could have driven there faster. My bags went, and my cancellation came 1 minute apart. Had I just gotten it 1 minute earlier, I would have grabbed my bag and done something different, but there goes that. So 8 hours at the San Diego airport, and there's not much to do in Terminal 1. Just to let you know, don't do it. Secondly, boutique crawl. The Old Town Temecula Association had an April 3rd boutique crawl, which was really successful. I think even it blew away any of our own expectations as a board when we heard the highlights and the results of it. It went very, very well. We had 28 or 30, I don't have all my notes, but 28 or 30 boutiques that actually participated. Each one did a special event in their store, and we had, I think it was like a couple of hundred participants midday, which is why it's so important. You have to understand, this started at 11 and ended late evening, but in that time frame when you don't think that people are going to come down and go shopping, I mean, it was crazy. And the boutiques will tell you that they probably saw an average of a 20% surge on that day, which most of the comments was, I didn't even know you were here. Wow, this is great, which was really our end goal, was to do that. So they want to do it one more time or 2 more times, but we think we're going to do it one more time this year because we're also in the midst of planning the Taste of Old Town, which will be coming in mid-July. So that is it. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. I apologize. Old Town Temecula Association is looking to, it's in front of the city now to do flags on some of the intersections for Memorial Day and moving into the 4th of July. But that is already up at city, so we will report back what happens there. So thank you. And next up is Community Services Department report.
Hello, committee members. So today I wanted to kind of provide an update on our general road closure discussion. So as you may recall, back in February, I brought forth to the committee a presentation of all of our road closures that impact Old Town based on the events, the duration of those road closures. Through that, we presented at City Council with our current list. At the, I'll kind of give an overview on my next slide. At the March 11th meeting, when we were provided our recommendations for maybe relocating or condensing some of our events, we were directed by City Council to go back to our Parks and Rec subcommittee to kind of delve into that a little deeper. So in this slide, it shows at the beginning of the year what our original closures would be with all of our events in Old Town, including, Rod Run, Preparedness Fair, Halloween Carnival, Ice Skating Rink, Sunset Market. Based on the direction of council at our March 11th meeting, we did ultimately decide to eliminate the ice skating rink for this year, and they were supportive of relocating a couple of our other events. With that, we went to Parks and Rec Subcommittee on April 2nd to make further suggestions to continue to decrease that number. Then on April 8th, we presented to the full City Council once again with those recommendations, and at the end of it, we brought it down to 25 days of road closures. So that's with certain events, either combining them. So our health fair and national preparedness fair have been combined to be one event. With our summer concert series, those are all scheduled to take place when the Sunset Market is going on. In moving forward with next year with the Sunset Market, having that duration be from May through October rather than March through November. So with this year, we got already kind of started off with that one. So this year it's already in progress, but it will end with its last market the 4th Thursday of October. And then there is one I kind of made an italicized for our Cartoonapalooza Art Festival. One of the recommendations from council was to continue to hold that event but shorten the duration. That is an event that we work on with a private event organizer, and so we are looking at possibly relocating that to be an indoor event just due to the time duration changing. The organizer would prefer to have a longer event but maybe is open to relocating it. And then I did want to provide an overview. When we did present to Parks and Rec Subcommittee, they felt it was important to show the days of the week that these closures take place. So it's kind of half and half. So if we have 25 road closures throughout the year with our events, half of them take place on a Sunday through Thursday, and then the other half are a Friday through Saturday. A couple of our events like the 4th of July Parade, Puesca Mountain Day, and New Year's Eve Grape Drop, because we host those on the holiday, that day of the week may vary. So for example, this year, 4th of July is going to be on a Friday, but last year was on a Thursday. So in total, we're at 25 days of road closures. And then in my next slide, I'll provide an overview of some of our events that are coming up with road closures. So tonight we do have the Sunset Market, and then tomorrow we will be preparing for our Community Services Expo. So tomorrow you will see a road closure along Mercedes and the Main Street Y. We will be setting up canopies for all of our participants who will be attending on Saturday's event. Once those canopies are set, we will reopen Mercedes Street for the evening. So the Main Street Y will remain closed, but the parking lots will be accessible and Mercedes Street will be accessible throughout Friday evening. Then on Saturday when staff arrives, we'll close it first thing in the morning at about 7 a.m. And then once all of the canopies are picked up, which I'm hoping by 4 p.m., then Mercedes Street and Main Street will remain open again for public use. Then on Saturday, May 17th, we'll be hosting our Culture Fest event. This is just a one-day event from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So for this, all of our vendors bring in their own canopies. So that road closure starts at about 5:30 in the morning. That way it has plenty of time for them to set up prior to the event. And then based on how quickly they break down their canopies, we could have the roads open as early as 5. I put 6 just to give them a little buffer. Like I said, depending on what their setup is, it could be a little quicker. And then I know I went a little out of order, but I did want to spend some time talking about the Rod Run. So it's crazy to believe it's already going to be next weekend. So it's going to be Friday, May 2nd and Saturday, May 3rd. So we have our annual cruise night, which is led by Councilmember Stewart, on Friday, May 2nd. So the cruise itself is from 5 to 8 p.m. We do start our road closures at 4. So with that, because our cruise is primarily on Old Town Front Street, we do close Front Street at 4 o'clock just to make sure that all of the general patrons that are in Old Town have enough time for them to clear out. That way they don't get stuck behind one of our older classic cars that's participating in the cruise. And then we try and flush out everyone as quickly as we can. That way the roads can be open for regular business at 8:30 p.m. And then on Saturday, with our event time being from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., we do start closing down Old Town Front and the side streets at 4:30 in the morning, and then all of our participants start arriving at 5 a.m. And then with the event ending at 4, between Public Works and the Riverside Sheriff's Department, we do have good plans for how to get that traffic flow out and then back to regular business on Saturday about 5 o'clock. That way it'll be like we were never there. So I did want to kind of mention, again, working with Public Works and the Sheriff's Department, we do have a little bit of a different plan for the Friday night cruise, so I just wanted to make sure you were aware. So with this, I know it might be a little tricky to see with the colors, so essentially our cruise takes place on Old Town Front Street between 2nd and 6th Street, with all of our participants looping around in the Stampede parking lot on the south end of town, and then the 6th Street parking lot on the north end of town. What we've seen over the years is that we do get a lot of traffic congestion, obviously, but with this one, a lot of traffic congestion at the intersection of 2nd and Old Town Front, and then also down at kind of Moreno and Mercedes. So our plan for this year would be Mercedes will remain open for northbound traffic. We will allow southbound traffic. However, we have decided to put a hard closure at the top of 2nd Street and Mercedes Street, and then a closure at Old Town Front and Santiago. So that way, what we found is that when we have participants who are participating in the cruise trying to come in and out of the Stampede parking lot, and then having incoming cars traveling north on Old Town Front Street from the Santiago intersection, and then pedestrians crossing back and forth, it just gets too chaotic in that area. So this is our first time, we are implementing a road closure just to allow less traffic coming in. However, at the north end of town, all spectators or people who are just coming into Old Town for the evening, they will be allowed to access Mercedes. So Mercedes will remain open. It's just anyone who is parked in the parking garage, if they're leaving at the end, they will be forced to head north. And then also at the north end, any of our cruise participants, they'll be able to access the cruise just directly on Old Town Front Street. That way we have a cleaner split of, if you're a spectator or just an Old Town patron, you're able to turn left to head to Mercedes. But if you're a cruise participant, you can head straight onto Old Town Front Street. So this just kind of shows an overview of what that route would look like, where the closures will be. And then, so during the cruise, all of our barricades are at the bottom of Old Town Front Street. And then on Saturday, we will be shifting those barricades so that those will be at the top of Mercedes Street. And again, during Saturday's show, Mercedes Street will remain open for the public. The parking garage will be available. We have made arrangements for resident parking to be located at the Senior Center parking lot. That way, because one thing that we've seen, as much as we love using the First Street lot, we've seen that when we designate it strictly for residents, if that lot isn't full, then unfortunately our staff is trying to turn away members of the public who are looking for parking. So with the Senior Center, since it has a gate and it's a little held down, we'll be able to fill that with the residents, and then that way the First Street lot will remain open for any of our spectators or merchants to find parking. And that's essentially my presentation. I'm sure there'll be a few more questions about Rod Run or just events in general, so I'm happy to answer them at this time.
All right, let's go ahead.
This might be a silly question, but the Saturday of the Rod Run, is the farmer's market also going, or no?
No, this is the one time a year that the farmer's market is canceled.
Great,
Yeah, that
thank
way we
you.
can utilize that for parking for our participants.
Perfect, thank you.
I think you did a great job on behalf of the community and the residents that live there, so thank you for your efforts with that. Is there any way to get updated information so I can get it to my tenants?
Yes, I have been sharing the information with your counterpart, Sandra, but I can make sure to send that to you as well, just so you have the same
I
information.
appreciate that, thank you.
Any other question? Go ahead.
I just want to say that doing it in the senior parking for the residents is genius.
Okay, good.
I wish someone would have thought of it a couple of years ago.
Me too. I don't know why all of a sudden, I think when we first were granted permission to use the First Street lot, we're like, oh, there's so much parking. And then, we did it 2 years in a row for Rod Run. And after last year, definitely like, as much as we want to make sure it's convenient, it's hard to find a central location because I understand we have residents on the north end and the south end. But then definitely I know there was a lot more congestion arriving. So that's why I figure, I know this is a public meeting, but so people will know, but I feel like the senior center will be a little more discreet, but it'll also be easier to get in and out of.
Yeah, it's not going to be on anyone's radar. You're able to just escape right there. So, yes.
Yes,
that's
and then
fantastic.
I did want to mention, obviously, I know this will come up, if residents or any merchants have a lot that's accessible via the alleys rather than going down the main side streets, those will be accessible. So we, for our residents, you don't have to park in the senior center lot if you have a parking space that's accessible outside of those road closures, but we do want to definitely have that option available for those who need to get in and out, or that way, you don't have to move your car in the middle of the night just to make sure you can get to work the next day. So, and then as always, when I come back for the May meeting, I'd be happy to have any feedback or, reach out to you via email if you have any feedback you'd like to share following the Rod Run.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Just one more funny observation. I have tenants that plan their move in or move out around the Rod Run because they know they can't move on that weekend.
Yeah.
Information is really important.
Okay, good.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad.
Excellent. I think our only feedback is, my only feedback is, when you do the Community Service Expo, do you guys have a banner that says that? Even though I will email out to my board and everybody that, hey, this is what's happening, because they get asked, what's going on, I don't remember, some of your events have the signs and some don't. So the big banner says, this is what it is.
Yeah, we
come,
do
enjoy.
have a sign that's
Okay.
usually placed in the quad, but I'll make sure, especially with the new bollards, I'll make sure to have signs on
Yeah.
each end. That way, if people are walking, if they don't happen to walk through the event area, they'll still have an idea. So it'll probably be like a 24 by 36 sign, but still have
Perfect.
information about the event.
Excellent. But it's just the common question that the retailers and everybody gets, like, what's going on up there?
Mm-hmm.
And then we don't always remember, but I'll send out an email just to remind everybody.
Yeah, of course.
I know that we're not doing the ice rink, and I know OTTA was going to ask if they were thinking of anything else, because we'd like to see at least maybe a Saturday event or something, so that'll be just something on the radar.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the comments I had, actually two people had asked, was when we do the Rod Run and we push the cars to the side street, because I know we park cars there, can we go a little bit deeper? I think we just kind of facially go like a quarter of the way down, not always half or full, but they said, can we use the side streets more? Because being only a quarter down, people don't really go, because they go, oh, we see the cars and they're gone. But if the deeper down, then those businesses get, because I think 3 of them just end up closing. Spice, they just end up closing up because nobody goes down those side streets. But now that Mercedes opened, it might be different. But I just wanted to at least give that feedback. That
Yeah, we
just a little deeper.
Yes, we definitely try and add
Yeah.
as many cars as we can, and then sometimes depending on the streets, like
Yeah.
3rd Street, for example, it gets a little tricky for our participants to want to park all the way at the top of Mercedes, so we're definitely encouraging it, but sometimes it's just when we're trying to advertise those spots to our participants, they may get a little particular, but we definitely want to accommodate as many cars as we can and also help with foot traffic for the businesses.
I wonder if you guys are doing any sort of entertainment or something that draws them to those side streets. I'm not sure what you guys are doing up near City Hall. Usually, I'm guilty of going down the main road too. So I'm wondering what happens that way, that we could maybe push some of those things over that will spread out everything a little bit more to the side streets.
Primarily with the Rod Run, our entertainment is our DJ at the intersection of Main and Old Town Front, and then we have our sponsors and vendors throughout the Main Street Y. I know years ago we would try and have more entertainment or kids activities, but then it just got kind of jumbled, but it's definitely something we can always, maybe that's something working towards early on next year to kind of coordinate with the businesses, and if they have anything, like if there's a business who's doing something special that weekend, we can make sure that our DJ makes those announcements, and I'd be happy to check in with you if you're aware of any. If any businesses have anything planned, it's definitely something we can include for our announcer.
And I think that that's what we're doing more of, trying to say, okay, here's maybe some things you can do. We're working through that too, but I thought I'd at least bring it up. So thank you. This is great. I'm excited to see how this whole thing works, because I'm usually here on that Saturday working. So I'm always interested in how this works. So it'll be really good. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
I think we are at Public Works, the director's report.
Yeah, only one thing to report that may affect Old Town a little bit is we are closing the northbound Winchester on-ramps this Friday night. Those will be closed over the weekend, and when the freeway opens back up, it's going to be on its final configuration, using the flyover, using the collector distributor lanes and everything. So anytime we seem to have a detour or anything, or any type of closure, Old Town gets a little bit busier with a little more traffic, people just avoiding the freeway. So just wanted to make sure you guys were aware.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, perfect. Community development, please.
Yeah, I have a couple of announcements. The first is to let you know that this is Sabina's last meeting. I want to thank you for your service on the committee. Yeah. So the membership on the Old Town Local Advisory Committee, the City Council passed a resolution, and it's made up of 7 members. So there's a rep from the Chamber, a rep from VTV, a rep from Old Town Temecula Association, and then the Historical Society. So that's 4, and then the 3 remaining members include a landowner, Carlene, and then a licensed architect, which we never filled that spot, and then finally the resident at large. So Sabina was representing the resident at large, and we'll be down to 5. On Tuesday, there was a discussion at the City Council meeting about the commissions, the boards, the committees, and the Old Town Local Advisory Committee. We're going to be down to 5 through the rest of the year. They're going to be taking applications to fill those spots after the first of the year. So Sabina won't be replaced until 2026. And then the licensed architect, there was a discussion about changing that and turning that into another business owner in Old Town.
I like that, that's good.
So that's an update on the makeup of the committee.
I have to tell you that I work with a couple of architects, and I asked them to apply, and they said, we're so busy, we just can't take on anything more. So that's good news about what's happening in Temecula. But I want to turn my attention to Sabina and her husband, David. When I first met with them, when they were applying to move into the building, they were students, and they weren't yet married, and they were just getting on their feet. But they were so delightful, and they qualified, so they moved in. Since that time, they got married. They've completed their education. They've gotten terrific jobs. I think David is now a sheriff for Riverside County. And they saved their money because of the low-income component, and they bought a house. They close escrow in a few days, and that's why she's moving. And so low-income housing in Temecula works. And so thank you for this opportunity for them.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congrats. Don't move on Rod Run Weekend.
We planned it around that.
Good, see?
I fought to close a week early, so I didn't have to.
Sorry.
Yeah, my other announcement is with regard to the meetings. Since we started, it's been monthly, the 4th Thursday of each month. And in the resolution, it talks about the time and place of the meeting and just says, shall meet regularly as may be appropriate or necessary. So part of the discussion with the City Council was meeting as necessary and not creating agenda items just to have a meeting. So we're forecasting what needs to come before the committee, and I think we can go down to quarterly meetings, but if something comes up, we can certainly meet. So if there's a need to have a meeting so we can discuss in a public forum something that the OTTA is experiencing or any of the other groups, we can certainly do that. But otherwise, we'll want to mark our calendars. This is the April meeting. Our next meeting will be in July on the 24th, and then after that it would be October 23rd. And then we'll get into a rotation each year of January, April, July, and October. And that's all I have. Oh, unless
My
Carlene.
only concern with that is it takes a very long time to get results on issues, even with monthly meetings. I mean, we've been talking about the parking getting better now for over a year. We've been asking that the city's lot open up to help ease that situation. And after a year and a quarter, it's still not improved. We move it to quarterly meetings, it'll take years to get something done. It'll get years to get results. Do you have a solution in mind for that?
We're always available, so if something's coming up, you can contact me directly. We can also, if it's very specific and we want to meet other than what's quarterly, we can consider that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Let's see. Did anyone have any other questions for community development? All right, I think we are done, so we're going to adjourn the meeting. Ding, ding.
See you in
Thank you.
July.